Watch us trade live right before your eyes from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. every market day Pacific time. Join us now only on SwissFT.com.
Now, what's interesting in Crude, I'll take the screen back again just to show you something that I think is interesting here. So, can you see my screen, Richard? Yeah, you can.
I do.
Okay, so we were talking about this uptrend on the daily chart here being yet the 4-hour chart being indecisive, but the hourly chart having bottomed out. We got back to a 786 while I was talking, and we missed this sell pattern. And you drop this over to a 15-minute chart here. We missed this sell against the hourly chart resistance at 81.38. We missed this sell right here. And if we drop down to the 5-minute chart, it helps us even more because we've got a double top. So my point being is if you have a chart, and that's the question that I threw out there last week or earlier this week, which chart is driving? Which chart is driving? And I think the charts take turns driving. Right now, this 4-hour chart down here is not driving, except that we have a 4-hour high. And if that holds, we have targets on the downside, but we don't have enough information. You pull over here to the hourly chart. We had this information that said we could reverse, and the sell, we should have been, as I was talking about this, we should have been looking for the sell pattern against the 618 or the 786, as long as this high doesn't come out. And when we drop over here to the 15-minute chart, this is the same, because of this high and this low, and this 15-minute chart being the same high and the same low, here's the same resistance points. And as this tail was coming up here against this hourly chart here, we should have started to have some confidence to potentially sell against here. And if we drop down to the 5-minute chart, as we're talking about the market turning at the lowest time denominator, the 5-minute chart was rallying here. And off of this 5-minute chart here, we were getting an extension to the ABCD to this level right here, as well as then an expansion of this range, both coming together here between 81.23 and 81.28, right there against the hourly chart at 81.38. Now, maybe that's too complicated, but if we're going to have certain markets that treat us well, then we need to focus on those certain markets in order to, I'm going to say, keep the job away and put the money in the retirement account.
Right. That's right.
So that's going to try to be my focus, and I'm going to focus on the ES, and we can go to the S&P 500 and see the same thing that I just talked about, that should have been a precursor to a potential trade to this, in my opinion. And if we would go to that, and since this is kind of it's Friday, and it's like you say, it's a Friday trade, okay? So right here, this rally here on the ES, because it's the June contract, it doesn't have the same symmetry on this shorter time frame of trading than it does over here on the ES continuation chart. And what's interesting about this ES continuation chart, looking again out at the big picture, we see this range and we see the expansion up to there.
Refresh finish.
We see this range and the expansion up to here. So there's times when the expansion range I find has a little bit more clarity than the ABCD, because this ABCD here is here or way up here. However, the expansions are certainly giving a potential signal for an impending turn. Now this is daily, so right here you got a double top. It's not exactly to the double top, but if you use a percentage, it falls within a percentage. Plus, you had a spinner with a market that tried to take the spinner and run with it to the upside and reversed. So if we drop down on this daily chart here of going back over to the June, then the June doesn't have the same range expansion because it's been actively traded for less time, but we have a range, and maybe we'll get to that range, but there's no ABCD here because we did not pull back to the 382. Now here's something that I found interesting as well. If you, and this is the purpose of the ABCD, when you have a range like this that does not trade to the 382, what I find interesting is if you do pull the market down to the 382, there's your symmetry of how the 382 hits the 1.618 expansion. But taking your ABCD to this level, if you kind of follow Larry's work, if it doesn't hit the 382, he doesn't consider it a valid ABCD.
Yeah, right. It's got to get to the 382, or it's just not a tradable
ABCD.
Right.
Yep.
I got that message.
And if we drop down here to the 4-hour chart then, and if we have some suspicions off of other charts here, here's where the market went back up and tried to take out this high on the 4-hour chart. So if we take and pull this off of here because it got above the 786, however, the market did fail to take and make a new high. So you've got an ABCD here. You didn't hold the resistance, but it's still a valid ABCD in my opinion. And now that we take and run, run this B low to this C high and run the expansions or run the ranges on it, we see that on the 4-hour chart, we got a reversal. Dropping down to the hourly chart, it reversed right at the 618 back to this high. So, and because you've taken this B low out here, we've got a valid ABCD to the downside. Whoops. Just like Larry has trouble with Ensign once in a while. We've got a valid ABCD down to the 5165 that's going to that could possibly challenge the validity of this hourly low here. And when we drop back to the 15-minute chart, and on the 15-minute chart, using the high and the low and the 618 retracement, we have a perfect right-hand trade, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We're not in it. So going back and using that perfect right-hand trade entry, we, on the 15-minute chart, we have a valid ABCD to the downside again. Now, we're getting on the 15-minute chart, that ABCD is getting mature. But if we wanted to use, if this 618 was holding and we pick up a right-hand trade there and we run the shorter term trade here, you almost could get the sense that odds are if we take out this 382 or this 382 of the larger range coupled with the 786 of this shorter range, we were going downtown in a big way. And that's what we've done. So maybe this is hindsight, using hindsight, but the way I've stepped through all the time frames, going back to your five energies of the market, here we are. Now, tell me, to offer other ideas that what we're talking about isn't necessarily valid.
Refresh finish.
What do you think?
Well, I'm always biased when it comes to the S&P, and anything selling is worrisome to me. But you're right. It looks like it wants to go down to that. It wants to go lower.
Well, and if we now take this ABCD off of there, and we go back to that last retracement low, this 382 and this consolidation is the target and the point of decision. And if we run this full range retracement, it's interesting then that the 786 to this ties to the 382 of the larger time frame.
Yeah.
And actually, all of these come on, and we're just using that as an expansion target. But the market could hold right here, reverse, and go on up. And to me, that's how we start watching. We look at which chart is in control for the moment, and that's going to change. But right now, then, we'd be looking for a culmination point off of this right-hand trade, or a failure to continue to confirm if we have a couple bars here now that doesn't take this out, you got to take the profit and look for the next right-hand trade on the shorter term.
Join us now only on SwissFT.com.